Hi everyone, it's Lucy from My Crazy Craft Life, and today I'm here with a design team post for Fairy Stamper. Today I am going to be using Flying Bats, Witchy Dwellers, Pumpkin Stack, Peeking Alfred, Webby Tree, Trick or Treat, and a paper from Bumbletwinkle. Now I'm going to start, I actually stamped Peeking Alfred also in a blue, but then I realized it was too close to the blue that was in the paper I chose. And then I'm stamping the pumpkin stack. I'm going to color in the pumpkin stack a little bit, and then I'm going to go and cut both of them out, even though you don't really see the Peeking Alfred right at the moment, but I'm going to end up restamping him in red. But I do end up using the blue one just to give it a little more thickness, a little more stability for him being on the card, but also then it kind of gives it a little bit of highlight in some areas with the blue background. So after I finish up coloring these two, I'm going to cut both of them out with my Scan and Cut, and then like I said, I will stamp the Peeking Alfred again, and then I will also cut that one out. These are just Ohuhu alcohol markers, and there's nothing fancy there in my coloring. Once I cut those out, I am going to be making a 5.5 inch square card. I am going to cut down the pattern paper to 5 1/4 to give me that little border around there. And then I'm going to be stamping the Webby Tree, the Trick or Treat sentiment, the bats, and a witch from the Witchy Dwellers directly onto the pattern paper. Now this is the first time I'm using all of these stamps, so I have to stamp them quite a few times. I'm using VersaFine Onx Black Ink while I'm doing it. And I cut up the Trick or Treat, and so I'm just going to kind of play around with that and place it in an area where I want to see it, or not so much want to see it, but where I thought it looked good. And so it's a little off kilter. And so I actually had to put the or in afterwards and stamp the Trick or Treat first. Once I get through with that, like I said, I'm going to be stamping the Flying Bats as well as the Witchy Dweller. So I'd like to take a minute and ask you to subscribe to the Fairy Stamper channel, to check out the Facebook pages for Fairy Stamper Hugs and Fairy Stamper. You can find tons of great inspiration for all types of stamps. Since we're getting close to October, I thought it was a perfect time to make a Halloween card. And I absolutely love this pattern paper. I think it goes perfectly with this card, and as much as I love making backgrounds, I do love all of these paper pads that Fairy Stamper came out with, because sometimes you just kind of want to jump right into making the card, or I guess not the card but just making everything and stamping instead of having to make the background first. And like I said, these are absolutely perfect, and I think this particular one is just great for this type of card. So now here I am going back and restamping, and I'm going to be using a very deep red, and I think it actually ended up coming out better because it was definitely more defined with this type of ink than what I had used for that blue. But like I said, after I had stamped it with I think it's actually called Stardust, and so it's kind of a purpley blue, but it really, really matched the background paper, so I had to change that up a little bit. I'm just adding a little bit of brown on the bottom of the pumpkins, and then once I put it in position there, I will end up doing all of the bottom just to give it a little shadow there on the bottom where the pumpkins are lying. And then I am going to take, like I said, both of the Peeking Alfreds and glue them together as soon as I can get my glue open. And I'm going to leave the wings themselves separate. Like I said, it gives it a little tiny bit of an outline that you can see depending on how you look at it. And I think he is so cute, just popping over those pumpkins, checking things out. And I decided to pop him up with some foam tape. So I'm just using a couple of pieces that I am going to cut down. And again, I am not gluing down or taping down the wings, so I'm just leaving those. And then kind of the last thing I do here is just pop the panel onto the card base itself, and that will finish up my card. So thanks for joining me. I hope you enjoyed this. Like I said, be sure to check out Facebook and YouTube. Thank you. I hope everybody has a great day. Stay healthy and keep crafting.